Hi, welcome back to my High Plains Life. I'm Danielle, your host, and this is episode 54. It is October 4th, 2019, and I want to know where the hell summer went because yesterday I just started my spring cleaning, and today it's October and forecast for snow. So it's been a little over 2 months since I spoke with you all last, and I got a little dichotomy going on. Feels like a lot has happened, and also absolutely nothing. Let's get on with the show. To begin with, on my needles, I do have an FO. I should, right? It's been over 2 months. Well, I have my August Camp Loopy project. So I did not get my July one finished. So I have June and August finished, but that means I didn't win any yarn. So, but this is my August project, which is a Gleam by Lisa Much. Love her patterns. I have knit this one before, and I gave it away. It was intended as a gift. So I knit this one for myself, and it'll probably be gifted also. So who knows? This is out of Into the World Kettle Dyed Dresden DK, and this is in their second spring colorway, and I love it. And that color is pretty accurate. I love a Gleam. I love the shape. I love the short rows. I love the dropped stitches. It's easy and beautiful. You don't pick up wraps. It's just awesome. And of course, I've got a thread on the back side because why wouldn't I? That's what happens when you block in your sewing room. It doesn't matter how many times I vacuum, there are still random threads on the floor. Okay, so this is the Gleam. As you can tell, it is not all the Dresden DK. I've got just a bit of Rios on the bottom. I started to bind off the last row just before the pattern was finished because I was out of yarn. Did not make the bind off, picked it out, and decided, well, you know what? It's not really as big as I wanted anyway, so let's buy another skein of yarn. I didn't want to wait for shipping, so I just went ahead and picked up a skein of Rios at my LYS. It's in the I'm making fun, VAA, Va colorway. And I used all of that skein too. So I have 2 skeins of the Dresden DK and 1 skein of the Rios. And it is very wide, but look at that. I love the way it just kind of finished off the end. And this is with blocking. I had to block it to get some depth into it. So it's really long, but it drapes beautifully. And I used every single bit of all 3 skeins. I bound off on my last row, my bind off row, in the Rios, finished the Rios, or ran out of the Rios, right there. And you can see, maybe you can see, where I picked up with my leftover Dresden DK and finished binding off in that multicolor. And that finished off that skein too, what like little nugget I had. So completely 3 skeins of yarn. I love it. And that is true to color. It's just this great autumnal saturated colors. Love the yarn. Love the pattern. And this yarn, look how saturated those colors are. There's not a single speck of white that I found anywhere. And sometimes you can get that when you have variegated colorways. You get a little blip of undyed yarn, and that did not happen here. And they all blend beautifully, but they're distinct colors. And they're all so saturated, and I love it. It's gorgeous. Okay, that's enough about Into the World Dresden Kettle Dyed DK and the Into the Spring colorway. Cracks me up that it's Into the Spring in autumnal colors. The first one is my Prayer Shawl number 5 in Lion Brand homespun yarn. This is just some acrylic that I've had sitting in my stash for many years. And this is just on a size K crochet hook. And I just cast on, I don't know, 80, 90 stitches. And then I'm just doing a double crochet across. This is as wide as it is. It's just going to be a little lap blanket or like a rectangular wrap, maybe. They don't like them too big if they're going to be lap blankets because they have to avoid wheelchair wheels, generally, if they're going to somebody in assisted living. So this is very simple, just kind of striping the colors to extend the yarn I have. So that is Prayer Shawl number 5. I have a pair of socks that might be finished soon. I don't know. I lost my sock mojo for a while, but I felt okay about it because I was working on projects for Camp Loopy over the summer, and so I was seeing progress in finishing things. And now that that's over, I'm like, what to pick up? And so I picked up a pair of socks that I'd started, and I've actually gotten pretty decent progress on them. These are the syncopation socks. Syncopated socks, and the link to my Ravelry. I love my Broncos project bag. Link to my Ravelry project pages in the show notes, and that lists the designer. I can't remember who it is. It is a free pattern. Yay! Oh, that's one of my beading projects. It's a come here stitch marker progress keeper that I made. Broncos! And that's where I was last time I worked on them. Since then, I have turned the hill, and this is actually what you'd call a Flegel hill. I've never done it before, but that was in the pattern, so I just did what it said. It fits my husband really good. It gives him enough room across the top of his foot, at the heel, whatever, that he doesn't have trouble getting it on, which the other pair I did. So this is the syncopated pattern, and every 6 rows you just change the spot you put the purl. So can you see how it kind of breaks up the lines and goes like that? Yay! This is in Andromeda soft yarn in the smoky colorway, which is this gorgeous bluish gray with speckles of navy and dark gray. Love it. Very masculine because my husband is not adventurous in his sock choices. So, but I'm doing them 2 at a time so I don't get second sock syndrome. And I make them the exact same because issues with that in the past. So there's the heel. I'm only a couple inches up on the leg. I have plenty of yarn left. Plenty. Like, this is still really squishy. It's like I've only used maybe 50 grams. So I have plenty of room to go further on the leg. He doesn't like them too high anyway, but I'm liking the knitting. So those are my syncopation socks for my husband. And I'm knitting those on 2.5 millimeter, 1.5 US needles. Because I'm already at a 72 stitch count. And even though my gauge is loosened up, if I go down to a 2.25, I'm going to be at like an 80 stitch count sock. And that's just way more stitches than I need in a pair of socks. What's up with all of us and our fat feet? Okay. I did mention my July Camp Loopy project, which was the sanctuary that I was knitting out of the cotton. Had to reach for it. And I did not finish for July, but I did get a little bit more done, and I have gone back to it. I've got cables all over the place because I just did a provisional cast on for the back so that I didn't have to pick up when I came to the neck. And then of course both my fronts are on cables. Okay, so I think you saw I'd finished the back. And that's the bottom, so it should be, it's not showing it very well, but it does curve because you bind off on the sides, angling, and then I'll pick up and I'll have the edge band. But I have knitted the right front in stockinette. Yay! So now I'm ready to do my left front in stockinette. And then I seam down the sides and pick up and do a band all the way around it. So it's like, includes like around the neck, down the front, along the bottom, and back up the side, the front. So I have not forgotten it. It is not in timeout. Because I figure even though it's cotton, even if I finish it in winter, it's a cardigan. It's meant to be worn over something. So I can always just wear like a long sleeve t-shirt underneath and put this on top, and I can still wear it in the winter. So that is my sanctuary. And link is in the show notes. And this is in my Bee Splat bag by Mrs. Brown's Bags. It's a progress keeper, but I've got it as a zipper pull, and those from, she sells through Colorful Eclectic. I think it's her sister or sister-in-law who actually makes my next whip. I'm still excited about. It hasn't been getting as much love recently because I don't know, I've been trying to work on other things, but this is in a bag that I bought at Salida Fiber Festival, which I will talk about later, from Retold Yarns. So it's lovely and squishy, drawstring, perfect size for my shawl. And this is a 3-skein shawl, and it fits, so yay. This is my magical thinking. Knitting these on size 4s. Can you see in there? Those are my yarns. That's pretty much brighter turquoise. Everything else looks right. Yay! Oh, changed the stitch marker out for another one I did because it's football season, yo! And I was knitting on this while watching a game, so that's another one of the stitch markers I made. I have been having a lot of fun beading. I've talked about it before. It's one of those things when, like, if it's a new hobby, will I stick with it or not? And so far I have. I still enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't take much time in that, like, I can sit down for an hour and have something done that I can use. So that's nice and fun. Oh, because I'm holding it upside down. There we go. So it would go like this, and then it gets bigger and bigger. This is going to be so pretty. So Magical Thinking by Casapinka in Yarns by Lollipop. No, Lemonade Shop. Sorry. Okay, so slow and easy, but still working on it. It's not in time out. Still liking it. Yes, those are all my wimps that I have put work on in the last 2 months. I do have some acquisitions. I did mention Salida Fiber Festival, and that was September 7th, I believe, one of the first weekends in September. It happens every year. This is the second year I've gone down with a couple ladies from my knit group. We had a lot of fun, and it's a couple-hour drive, but it's an easy day trip. So we just carpooled and went down and spent the day and had some fun. Went down, did some shopping, had some lunch, did another walk around, voted on best use of last year's themed colorway, and just had an enjoying time. I went not with the intention of not buying anything, but there wasn't anything I needed, so I didn't have a list. Should have, because I probably would have spent less. It's okay. Everything was in budget, but yeah, for not going down with a plan and not needing anything, I came home with a whole bag. A whole tote bag full of stuff. So, last year's colorway was Alpine Meadow. So it was this, they used a photo of an alpine meadow. So it had wildflowers and blue sky and grass and rocks, and it was a really pretty picture indicative of Colorado mountain meadows, and they invited artists to interpret that with fiber or yarn. And I did not buy a skein, some of my friends did, but then they invited attendees, I guess you'd call them, to knit or weave or crochet or do some form of fiber art with that colorway and submit it for judging for like best use of the colorway. So we got a vote. I voted on this really pretty woven project bag. So they'd taken the theme colors and woven it into fabric and then cut the fabric out and made a combination project bag purse. I cannot describe it, but it was beautiful. It was gorgeous, and the workmanship was really excellent. So not only did they have to weave, but they had to be able to sew. So I voted for them. They did not win. The people that won had done a hand-woven Navajo-style rug, and it was using like the traditional Navajo geometric designs, but in the Alpine Meadow colorways. It was gorgeous. But, okay, so that one, and that was last year's colorway. This year's colorway was called Norwegian Gold. And instead of providing a photo to interpret, they basically gave 5 colors. Basically, it was just like, here's 5 paint chips. This is the colorway design. And I didn't enjoy it as much because it was very literal. for example, I did purchase colorways this year. And, come here. So this is my haul, and I liked this the best of what was being offered. This is from Dragon Fairy Dye Works, and she's local here in Colorado Springs. And these are, so I take it back, it was 6 colorways. So basically it was 6 paint chips. So Heidi chose, like many others, to interpret it literally, you know. And she has mini skeins in the 6 colors. And I like this. I like the mini skeins. It was what I was looking for. And what I think I will do, I think I hear another On the Spice Market calling. So either an On the Spice Market or some other shawl that has a good use of minis in it. And I will do that because I really enjoyed seeing what people made last year. And I am hoping to make and submit something of my own this year. So I bought this from Heidi. Sorry, at Dragon Fairy Dye Works. And I liked her mini skeins. Some of the makers use the exact same colors, but they were all in one skein. Some offered full skeins of just a single color or 2 colors. And that would have, to get what I want to do, I would have had to have purchased a lot more. So, suited my needs. This is one interpretation of the colorway. I did get another thing. So I did buy more from Dragon Fairy Dye Works, and I will go back and show you after I show you this. This is what I bought from the 100th Sheep. And this is her fiber, and this is 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, and 10% nylon. So, superwash with bamboo and nylon, so if I wanted, I could knit socks. So I could spin it up and do a 3-ply, 4-ply, whatever my yardage works out to. You know, tightly spun and plied and make socks out of it, which I think I might. Unless, you know, this ends up being what I want to submit for the colorwork contest, and I'm dropping tags on the floor. So this, you can see the bamboo in there. You can see the sheen. Isn't that pretty? And this is how Peggy Doney at the 100th Sheep interpreted it. So it has the same 6 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it feels so good. One, the superwash. Dude, the bamboo. Bamboo is just so smooth and shiny. Can you see that? Just that. Oh. So those were the 2 items that I purchased that were the colorway interpretations for this year's Salida Fiber Festival. Okay, going back to Dragon Fairy Dye Works, I also purchased these. These were on sale, 50% off, because they are discontinued bases, and she was getting rid of them. And they're my colorways. Hello, green. So I have 2. This is Sky Fingering 100% USA produced merino wool. And there's 6 mini skeins in each. So I have the chlorophyll, cannot talk today, chlorophyll colorway, which is the lighter greens. Ta-da! And then the Army Hua, which cracks me up because that's actually Marines. Colorway, which is the darker greens. Doesn't make everybody dizzy. So I thought I could do a little colorway gradient thing there. I don't know. If I had a little more, I was thinking of doing My Blue Heaven by Shiloh Weir. It's a new pattern she just came out with. Very excited for her. Congratulations, Shiloh! And if I had more yarn, I would do My Blue Heaven in these, but I'd need double the amount. So I'm still thinking about what I'm gonna make it in. But that's one of the things I've had to force myself to not cast on yet till I get through a few more of my whips. Okay, what else did I purchase? Okay, my local yarn shop, You and Me a Yarn Boutique, was there also, and yes, I could have waited and just bought it at home, but this is from Artistic Yarns, and it's the Colorado Rockies colorway, and I think my father-in-law needs a pair of socks. Plus, I get another cute lamb wool sheep stitch marker thingamabobber. My father-in-law needs a pair of Rockies socks. And so if there's something you really love, you need to buy it when you see it because it might not be there when I went back to my OS. So, bought this. Also, they are now carrying junk yarn. Kemper, I am so excited that you're wholesaling west of the Mississippi. I have no idea how far you go. But as far as I know, this is the first shop in Colorado that sells your yarn. So, woo! And this is Anne with an E. Love it. I'm not really an yellow-orange colorway person, but these are more autumnal, I guess, with the green and the russet. I mean, look at that rust color in there. It's just so interesting. Very excited. And then, of course, I had to hit up Spruce. Sorry, it's getting warm. Spruce Dragon. And I purchased 2 skeins of her Durango, which is 100% superwash merino in the Cenote and cinnamon colorways. Now these are fingering, maybe sport weight, but they are in 115 gram, so fingering, 115 grams with 560 yards. So I can do a wonderful 2 skein shawl here. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. My colors. So, 2 skein shawl. Here I come. One more thing I had to wait before casting on. Also from Spruce Dragon, I got her Wolf Creek, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, fingering weight, and I got 2 matching skeins in this gradient colorway. It goes blue, green, yellow. And so I thought maybe, I don't know if I want to make my nieces matching socks or me matching socks with them. But doesn't matter. I can think about it. And they were already wound up like that to show the gradient. Okay, that is all the stash enhancement I have from Salida Fiber Festival. Way more than I intended coming home with, but I am happy with it all. So, yay. On to spinning. I have finished spinning a cornfield. It's an art bat called a cornfield from Spinning Mermaid Fibers. I spun all this spun all the singles. I have a little bit more on another bobbin. And look at the glitter sticking out. Ah! So I tried to be consistent. I think I wasn't too bad. As you can see, there's like a spot right there that's not twisted very much, but that's okay. So, to get the most yardage out of it, I'm just spinning it all as singles. I was not going to ply it together because I wanted actual yardage that I could do something with. So I bought a thread, an 8-weight thread maybe, in like a bronze colorway that kind of matches that right there. And I'm going to ply it, just thread ply it with that. I'm going to do a sample and see if I like it. If I do, then I'll finish it. If I don't, I don't know. This is a blend of fiber. I could always just ply it with a single natural alpaca. So it'd be 1 ply white and 1 ply wacky. And I don't know if that would tone it down too much for me or not. So I see some sampling in my future, which I am getting more comfortable doing. In the past, I was just like, I want to spin. Screw sampling. I'm going to spin. And I did. But now I am learning more that if I want to use my hand spun, which I do, I need to plan a little further in advance and actually try and create yarn that I will use, and that means sampling. So, but I do like the way it's spun up. Look at all those beautiful colors in there. Isn't that beautiful? And then the crazy Stellina. Okay. So that was my spinning. Okay, so that is all my knitting and spinning. As far as under the needle, I have been doing a lot of sewing. Well, it's been 2 months. Of course I have. I have finished 2 blocks for Quilt of Valor. The Piecing Partners Quilt Guild always does a block of the month, and participation has been hit or miss. So what they've just decided to do this year is block of the month, all blocks will be donated to Quilt of Valor, and everything needs to be red, white, and blue. So instead of doing blocks, turning them in, and then each month they draw a person's name and they get all the blocks, because some months we had a lot of participation, some months there was hardly any. Or somebody would only end up getting all their own blocks back, you know, like that's woo, exciting. So, our guild participates in Quilts of Valor, which is a program that wants to give a quilt to every U.S. veteran. That's a lot of people. So we as individuals create the blocks, turn them in, and then members of the guild piece them together, quilt it, and do the binding. And it was really interesting because last month, guild meeting, we got to see 3 recipients of the Quilts of Valor, the last 3 quilts we recently finished, and they were presented to them at our guild meeting, and that was really cool because a lot of times they are taken to veterans homes or VA facilities, and we don't get to, see who gets it. So that's cool. But every month the block changes, and so last month's was this. It's called Ribbons, and I made 2 of them. The exact same block, or fabric. So 2 of them. And they are 12.5 inches unfinished. And I had a good time and enjoyed doing that. My favorite part of quilting is sewing the blocks. And I have a lot of unfinished quilt tops because that's the part I enjoy best, is always just piecing the blocks. So this lets me do the part I like best and not have an unfinished quilt. Fun, huh? Okay, so I sewed 2 of those blocks. I wanted to show you. I mentioned last time that I'd made a needle holder, but I don't think I showed it to you. So I want to show it now. So this is my needle holder. I just used a pretty fabric with a coordinating fabric to bind it. And this is a magnetic needle minder that I've got my scissors pinned to, and I just use that to hold it closed. How fun is that? And okay, so from the back, you can see there's my scissors. I have binding clips, a thread puller, some thimblets, which are little latex thimbles. And from the beginning, I've got a measuring tape ribbon. That's a fabric ribbon that I've sewn just across the whole back. So I made a pocket, and in this pocket I have a little pencil. You might need to take notes. Some unknown needles. I have my thimble that is pinned so it doesn't fall out. I have just some flat pins. And then this is just white flannel that I've pinked the edges of. And I have, those are random needles. And I just labeled everything with permanent. Those are betweens. Those are embroidery needles with their sizes marked. These are applique straw needles with their sizes marked, and just a cute little pinked edge fabric strip just to give it a little color. Longs and basting needles, longs tying needles, and obviously I have yarn on them. Oh, and then I showed you. So that is what I finished a couple months ago, and I know I talked about it last time, but I didn't show you, and I think it's adorable. It's a perfect size. It fits in my little quilt basket, and I can take this off. I can use it to keep it closed. Tricky little magnet. So I can use it to keep it closed and attach to the scissors. Or when I am in the middle of a quilting project, I can take it off, clip this to the project, and have my scissors and a needle minder available there. I love it. So cute. Okay. The dog's gonna bark. What else have I sewed? Ooh. Last month, so really just like 2 weeks ago, I participated in a workshop through Piecing Partners Quilt Guild. It was about the can't even talk. Mariner's Compass quilt block, which is a very traditional symbol, like hundreds of years old, like 500 years old, if not older, probably older. Invented in China ages ago. It is normally the 32 points of the mariner's compass, and each is named according to a wind direction of the compass. So it's used a lot in navigation and pretty traditional quilt block. And we learned all the way from the beginning how to create a mariner's compass, which I loved. The geek in me, like the engineer, was just like, I love this. Because, let me show you what we did. I literally use a compass. I was so excited. I knew there was a reason. I had saved my compass and protractor since college. Yes, it's been 20 years, but I used it. So, basically, sharp pencil, straight edge ruler, circular compass to draw arcs. Isn't that gorgeous? It's 2 pieces of paper taped together, so ignore the little overlap. Loved it. And it wasn't just, okay, divide in 2 and create the next arc. Like, we learned the geometry behind it, and like you can probably see where those, okay, as I blow out my, you can probably see that little cross X. That's because I took from one point in the mark, another point in the mark, and where they crossed, and then it went back through to the center point, like how you created the arcs and the points of your compass mathematically. It was awesome. So, this is, if you, 32-point mariner's compass. That's right. And then we learned how to do offset mariner's compass. I drew all these, folks. Engineer in me was like, ah! Did a little geek squee. I was so excited. Offset mariner's compass. And then for the finale, oh no! This isn't the finale. And then how to flatten it out, but still being mathematically accurate. An oval mariner's compass. That's right, folks. Isn't that pretty? Look at how it is. I see a snowflake quilt block in my future. Okay, and now for the finale. Because the greatest numbers in math are the Fibonacci sequence. The golden mean. It's awesome. This is a golden ratio mariner's compass. Isn't that awesome? So, well, this is like without the points, but if you did points out to all those marks, this size and this ratio, golden. Isn't that awesome? So I totally geeked out, but I learned a whole lot. One, how to create a mariner's compass block, because yes, they're provided in pattern books and kits online and stuff like that, but you pay for it because somebody else has already done all the work. So if I wanted to create one of my own, if I wanted a specific size block, I know how to make it now. We learned how to create the mariner's compass in the size, style, and design we want. How to pick the points we want to emphasize. You know, basically there are a million ways you could do it. And then how to take our design and create the paper piecing pattern from it. And then how to pick fabrics for that block that would make the most of the design. I have learned that I have a lot of medium valued fabric and not a whole lot in the lights and darks range. And then we got to finish up by either starting on a block or playing with some more designs. So great workshop, had a lot of fun, learned a bunch. My next sewing project is, well, that I'd really like to do, is a project bag. I have a couple project bags in mind, but one in particular for a friend, and I'm just going to show you 3 fabrics. Think a Tenti pink llama overnighter bag. Okay, are you ready for this? Oh my God! I'm not a pink person. I'm not a gold pleather person. What? But this is pink floofiness. Oh my God. It was in the fabric remnants. So 50% off. And it's so floofy. Oh my God. Pale gold pleather. So bottom and bottom side, front and back, and then the top zipper panel, like the zipper panel upper side. And this is coming for you. Okay, so project bag. And then I already have some Christmas project bags made from last year, but I think I'll do another round of drawstring bags because, again, crap load of holiday fabric. So I think I'll just do smaller drawstring holiday bags and have those available for Christmas presents for my knit ladies. Oh, yeah. And I am putting this in under the needle because it is a sewing needle that I use, not a knitting needle. So this is my beadwork. I've showed you some when I was going through my whips. I showed you, you saw my Denver Broncos mascot, I guess, and my football. I have a bunch of these little footballs. But guess what? It's Halloween. Well, it's October, which means, woo, Halloween! And what does Halloween mean? Jack Skeleton, boys and girls. Oh my God! How cute is he? There's also a Sally that goes with him that I haven't beaded up yet because I don't have the right shade of blue. Totally going to. And then, of course, because little ghosts that blush while trick-or-treating is just too adorable. So I have a little ghost. Oh. Oops. Sorry, this one still has thread hanging from it. I have a little tiny pumpkin. Yeah. Little tiny pumpkin. And then, in progress, I have a little bigger pumpkin. How cute is he? So I think I'm going to have like this pumpkin and then with a little black cat. How cute are those? Yeah, so I've not stopped beading. I'm still thoroughly enjoying it. I have way more than I need. And I have been selling them on commission through my local yarn shop, You and Me. And I'm very grateful for that. And they did okay the first couple months, but I have not sold any like the last 2 months. So, I don't know. I need to figure something else out. Yes, I can just give them away to friends. But and in the end, I may just do that. I think everybody's going to get a little Christmas present. But that doesn't help me pay for my supplies, which is what I was really hoping to do. Yes, I could go on Etsy, which I have not done. But if I'm on Etsy, I am much more conscious about not using patterns that are designed by somebody else, or using patterns that specifically say no commercial use, or patterns that are available, but I worry about copyright infringement. Like Jack Skeleton, he's adorable. Am I infringing on the copyright if I sell it without giving royalties? I don't know. That just starts getting way complicated. Then I have to worry about sales tax and shipping. And frankly, like, for what I want to sell these for, it wouldn't make it worthwhile if I had to package and ship everything. So, dilemmas, folks. I have way more respect for people who do make and sell items, not just through Etsy, but like Big Cartel or their own websites, whatever. I started this because I loved the designs that Hannah of Corner of Craft was doing. I just thought they were beautiful and practical and so adorable and looked like fun to make, and cost of international shipping just kind of made it not worthwhile. And I was like, it's one of those things, I can do that, and then you do. So, but again, like, to do a good range of designs, you have to have a bunch of different colors, which means you spend more on supplies, which takes away from my yarn budget. So I'm just whining. Oh yeah, I also did some Mario Brothers, like the Fire Flower and Princess Mushroom, and Mario and Luigi. They were a blast. Did a couple avocados and some cherries. So I'm just trying to change things out seasonally and see if I can't just keep some sales going. Yeah. Okay, so tell me, if you were interested, tell me what stylus stitch marker you would like and your address and what else you would like to hear about on the podcast. And I will pick somebody, and that lucky viewer will get a free stitch marker. There. That is definitive. Okay. So that's what I've been making. As far as the garden goes, oh my god, it's fall. I did have our tree professionally trimmed by a licensed arborist because it had not been doing well all summer and it hadn't recovered from the heavy spring snow. So had it trimmed up, a lot of the weight taken off the ends, which it apparently really needed. It's not sagging anymore. So that looks good. Only now, I cannot believe it is time for fall cleanup. So I need to go out, deadhead, and trim up, basically trim down all the perennials. Get them ready for winter and throw down another layer of mulch to keep everything bundled up for the winter. Yay! As for in the bee yard, 2 months ago they were doing fine. 1 month ago they were dead. It was literally, I could see the difference in 1 week to the next in my garden. 1 week they were all over the flowers, you know, working away, and the next week there was 1 or 2, and then I didn't see any. I was in denial and didn't go check my beehives for another couple weeks, and then when I did, they were dead. I discovered what I had hoped not to, and they were all dead. So I pulled all my equipment, brought everything home, and I've just been going through and cleaning out all the frames. The only thing I can think of is pesticides, maybe. Even if they had swarmed this late in the season, which they might have because they were running out of room, and I hadn't thrown on another box yet. Even if they had swarmed, that would just split the hive population. There still would have been bees left behind. So I'm thinking pesticides. And in that case, I didn't want any of the old wax to contaminate future hives. So I'm basically just cleaning up all the frames, scraping all the old wax out, and getting stuff ready to store for winter. And then basically I've got a 5-gallon bucket full of old wax. I made myself a solar wax melter, and I'm slowly just working through cleaning up all the wax. It doesn't actually have to be very warm for the wax to melt because you're basically creating a little greenhouse, but it doesn't need to be sunny. And with the temps dropping and clouds rolling in, I'm not sure how much longer I'll get use out of the wax melter. So I might have to put that on hold and start it up again in the spring. So who knows? We will see. As far as off topic goes, my countertops were fixed. We picked our backsplash tile. Now we're just waiting on the installer to get back to us with a time to schedule the install for the backsplash. And that's about all that's going on household-wise. I have been listening to a new podcast. It's called I Thought I Knew How. And it's about a woman who is participating in the Master Knitter program. She talks about her different projects she has to go through and questions to answer and samples to knit. She has done, like, sometimes she'll reknit a sample 4 or 5 times before she sends it in. It's crazy perfection. So, and she talks about what exactly the Master Knitter program is good for and whether or not it's worth doing. So I just enjoy listening to her. And actually right now she is in Shetland for Shetland Wool Week. So I have thoroughly been enjoying her Instagram feed, seeing all the lace and the colorwork knitting and, oh, the sheep. So cute. So I've really enjoyed following her feed, and again, that was I Thought I Knew How. And that's all I have for you. This week, I will get on recording a video about cleaning up my hives and my solar wax melter and bring that to you next time. So, here's to fall, y'all, and can't wait to see you again soon. You can find the show notes at www.myhighplainslife.blogspot.com. And I am Danny Girl Co. on Ravelry and Instagram. Feel free to follow me there. I'll see you soon. Bye.